Well, hello everyone. Good evening and welcome to the fourth Revolution Trains Facebook Live. Now, our last live, which you'll know was number 3, got 1.7 thousand views. That's 1,700 views. So we thought this is clearly a format that is working and that people are engaging with. That's why we're keeping doing it, even though I suppose we're kind of coming out of the lockdown now. But of course, there are no exhibitions. Normally, we'd be meeting you and talking to you at exhibitions. The DMU showcase was cancelled this year, and we've heard that the Engage show and Worley too have also been cancelled, as has Model Rail Scotland in February next year. The 3 big shows that we would have expected to meet and talk to lots of people at. Now, all the information that you're going to hear now is going to be appearing on our website afterwards. We've got a few glitches with our Wi-Fi here. I don't know why, so please bear with us if things like the close-up camera cut out. We'll do our best to get it back for you. I'm sure it'll all be fine. And we'll be answering questions on the Engage forum afterwards as well, if we possibly can. And of course, we're going to be joined by Mike Hale later on, my co-partner of Revolution Trains. He's submitted a recorded section about one of the things that we want to talk about tonight, and he's also going to be joining us on the computer. So any contributions on the chat side from Revolution Trains, that is Mike answering questions as you ask them, and there will be a brief Q&A at the end as well, as ever. What are we going to be talking about today? Well, the first and most exciting thing, I suppose, for most of us, certainly including me, is that we've got full production samples now of all the Class 92s that are going to be leaving China, we hope, very, very soon, and should be here as soon as shipping allows. There are a few issues with shipping at the moment for obvious reasons, but as soon as we know and have an estimated date they arrive, we will tell you, and it won't be very long. We've also got an update, an important update actually, on the Class 321. We've got interesting information, I hope, for those modelling the steam diesel transition era about the Class A tankers that we are proposing. More decorated samples, Class 321s and 00 gauge eco-fret container flats. News about another run of Pendolinos, which I know a lot of people have been waiting for. But most of all, what I really want everybody to take away from this is there are deadlines. We've got deadlines coming up. We're going to make them really clear for you. Certainly with regard to the 321, there are 2 different deadlines, which we're going to explain. It's on our website already, but I can understand that some people may be a little bit confused, so we're going to try and go through it really slowly and make sure it's absolutely crystal clear. All right, that's that. Now let's get to the fun. Let's start talking about Class 92s. Now, these are the decorated production samples that have just arrived. I'm going to show you them one at a time. And this is the first one. This is 92001. It's Victor Hugo in EWS livery. Now, the locomotive no longer carries this livery. I think it operates in Romania, perhaps. But we're really, really happy with this. We're loving the colours they've got. We think are absolutely spot on. It looks great. Some people have already seen photographs that we've posted of this and have noticed that the roof, in fact, inside there is blue. And that's absolutely correct, because all of the Class 92s, even when they were repainted into other liveries, retained blue on the inside of the pantograph well. This one is one with the standard lighting. It has, if you look at the front there, a coupler on that end. On this end, as all the models will be, there's no coupler, and although these samples don't have it, all the models that are supplied to customers will have fully detailed, super detailed front ends with all the pipes and the wires pre-fitted. And what you can also maybe see in there, if I bring the model really close to the camera, is that inside the front there's little driver's sunshade blind. Now, I don't know about you, but I've noticed on photographs of Class 92s that you always see these blinds pushed down. So we thought that would be a nice little touch to add that in there. So that's the 92 in EWS livery. And I'm going to go through the others now quite quickly. We've got 92003 Beethoven in rail freight distribution. This was the livery that they were launched in. Again, really happy with all the colours, really happy with all the markings, the lettering. We're also offering this in an unnumbered version. So that means it won't have the BR totem, it won't have the locomotive number, and it won't have the crew depot plaque. It will have all the other small markings, tops panels, all the little, you can't see them probably here because the quality is not good enough, but they're all tiny little data panels along the lower body side edge of the locomotive, and all those will be present. So if you want to do one of the other Class 92s, all you'd need to do is get some lettering for the name there and numbers. All the models are being supplied with photo etched BR totems, channel tunnel logos and depot plaques as well. So it will be a nice way of expanding your fleet with the undecorated model. Very straightforward. Next up is the DB Red version. This is 92009 and it's Marco Polo, and this is in DB Schenker livery. Now what's interesting about this, it just underlines the importance of having decorated samples done, because what's happened here is there's been a misunderstanding. We have already previously had a version of this locomotive and it was correct, but for some reason they've decided to make the cab windscreens black instead of red. They should be red, they will be red on all the production models. So again, just an indication of why it's so important to get decorated samples done. And I have to say that, you know, looking at these models, Rapido have done an incredible job. They just look fantastic. The paint finish is gorgeous. This is the Caledonian Sleeper one. Again, this is one we have previously shown, because the DB Red and the Caledonian Sleeper we had been sent previously, so I won't hold on to that one too long. Next up is something a little bit special. This is 92017. And this is the limited edition version for Kerno in Stobart Rail livery. And had a lot of work to get permission to do this one. It's exclusive to Kerno. Again, it's got all the Stobart logos on it. It's got the printing there is just absolutely sensational in my view for an N-gauge model. Will look really, really good, I think, on layouts. Again, slight error with this one is that they haven't got the windscreen fronts white. They should be, but again, that is being corrected. Just underlines the importance of having decorated samples. Photos of all these models will be going on our website in due course. Now, next up is 92032. This is the GBRF loco. The name is IMEC-E. And again, this is the GBRF Europort version of the livery. Again, really, really happy with that. Looking fantastic. And this is one where you can see the posable pantographs that can go up or go down, and they'll stay in position. Both ends, both pantographs fully posable. And also, just I'll try and show you, on the underside there, you might see on the battery box there in the centre, there is a small switch, and that switch enables you to deactivate the tail lights so that you can operate this locomotive with headlights only, no tail lights, just in case you want to, well, when you're running a train, you shouldn't really have the tail lights on, of course. And then finally, the last one we're offering is 92036. This again is the rail freight distribution livery, but it has the yellow panel on the side with the EWS loco. Bertolt Brecht is the name of this locomotive. Again, this is the version. Oh, wrong way. There we go. This is the version with the EWS lettering. Again, this is the last of the rail freight distribution locomotives. So that's the 92s, and I say we're really delighted. The fit, the finish, everything is fabulous. Just a few little tweaks we need to do on a couple of the little things like those windscreens that I explained to you. Beyond that, we'll be ready to give the go ahead to these very soon. We hope to be shipped in, and I know a lot of people have been waiting a long time for these locomotives, and we certainly have. And we'd like to say a huge thank you to Mohan and to Zhu and Huang and all the team at Rapido, Bill and Jason too, of course, who have done an incredible job with these locomotives. They look absolutely stunning, and we're absolutely thrilled with them. And as I said, photographs for you to look at on the website coming up. And those who've ordered Pendolinos, those of you who've ordered Class 92s can start looking forward to either receiving requests for balances to be paid, or if you've paid in full, your model will come to you in due course, as with all our stuff. Okay, let's move on then. We're going to talk now about the Class 320 and 321, and this is where I'm going to try and explain it. You may have to bear with me a little bit. So we're in the countdown phase now, the final 321 countdown for getting these models into production, but there's a catch, and the catch is this: not all the liveries that we have proposed have got enough interest for us to go into production, because of course the factory will have a minimum order threshold for all these models. So we're going to talk a little bit in a minute about what we're doing about that to navigate our way through that. We have already cancelled First Capital Connect, Northern and the plain white version that could have been a basis, I suppose, for repaints or vinyl jobs because they didn't have enough interest. Moving forward, the ones that are definitely going ahead are the ScotRail Saltire 320. And now I haven't got that here. Mike's got that one because he's just been doing a bit of DCC testing on the chassis. It works beautifully. I'm loving the power couplers between the cars. That mean the motor is in the centre pantograph car, as is the DCC chip. But the chip with its Next 18 interface can also control the lights on the outer cars because of the couplers that we've installed. So you don't need to buy 3 chips to power this model and to have working lights as well. They also all have, as standard, working saloon lights, and the saloon lights can be switched off and the headlights, tail lights can be switched off as well if you want to couple up 2 together. And now I'm going to show you some of the other samples. So we've got here the Network Southeast. This is a DTCO, so it's got the first class lettering at the front there. There's one tiny error with this. We're not actually happy with the shade of grey there, so that is being changed to what we think is a more authentic shade. And also, if you look closely, the coverage of the yellow on the front is not good enough, so that's also being improved on. But again, that's why we have decorated samples, so we can make these changes. The other livery that's definitely going ahead is London Midland. And this is the London Midland version. Again, a few slight changes needed. Again, we're getting them to improve the yellow, changing the green. But beyond that, we're very, very happy with these. And of course, the actual production models will have blackened wheels. But under here, you can see the 2 switches I told you about. One switch there deactivates the saloon lights inside. The other switch deactivates the head and tail lights if you want to run them coupled together. And so all these models are pretty much ready to go into production. Now, how do the deadlines work? Well, let me explain that. The first deadline is the 30th of August, and that deadline is for 2 liveries. And the liveries that haven't quite made the cut yet are the Class 320 3-car train in Strathclyde PTE orange and black, and the Class 321 4-car train in Silverlink purple and green. Now, those are the liveries. They're close, but they're not quite there yet. They haven't reached the minimum threshold. If enough people order them before the 30th of August, then they will become confirmed. But at the moment, they're what you might call at risk. If you have ordered them and they don't make the cut, don't worry. You will be given the opportunity to either change your selection to one of the models that are going ahead or for a full refund. Now then, that's the first deadline. After the 30th of August, we will know which models are going ahead and which models haven't made the cut. At that point, there'll be a final order deadline of the 20th of September, and that is the last chance you'll be able to pre-order these models at our crowdfunder price, or pre-order price, which is £195 for the 3-car trains, £225 I think for the 4-car trains, which compared to lots of other models out there at the moment, I think represents great value, especially when you think of all the features that we've crammed into these. And after that, they will be available from retailers, but obviously the prices will be full retail prices and they'll be considerably higher. So that is how the deadlines are working. Hopefully that is clear. If not, we will engage later and we will try to answer questions about them. Okay, so that's that. So I've talked to you then about the Class 92s, the Class 320s and the 321s. Now, with information about the forthcoming Class A tanks, I'm going to hand over to Mr. Mike Hale.
Good evening everyone. I'd like to give you a first look at the CAD for our forthcoming Class A 35-tonne tank. If you remember, a couple of years ago we produced a very similar tank, the Class B 35-tonne tank, which Class A tanks were predominantly grey or silver. So we'll be producing the original SO silver and red tanks. Then we'll move on to the later version of the livery, which was SO branded still, but a light grey rather than silver with a red sole bar. That then moved on through into the 80s as typically an unbranded grey and red livery. It was fairly similar to the previous SO grey and red livery, but without the SO plates, which have been removed. That allows us to actually produce one of the sort of perhaps slightly more unusual liveries. There were a batch of tanks used by Staveley Chemicals that were basically the unbranded grey and red livery, but branded with a large Staveley Chemicals logo and a BRT logo on the side. So we'll offer that. And then finally, perhaps the most unusual one was from the sort of mid-60s onwards, a handful of Class A tanks were bought by the Chipman's Weed Killing Company for use in their weed killing train. And they actually appeared in at least 3 different liveries from the mid-60s through to the 80s in weed killer trains. So they originally appeared in a red livery, that moved on into the 70s into Chipman's green, and then finally moving into sort of the late 70s, early 80s, they were repainted into plain black. We haven't worked out exactly which of the variants of Chipman's livery we'll be able to offer yet, but we'll do a bit more research on that, and we'll offer up as a minimum at least a green and a black tank, and hopefully more. We're hoping to be able to give people a sort of a prototypical choice of tanks for both those 2 liveries. The price will be $19.95, and they'll go on sale after this session. As I said, the chassis is common to the Class B tank that we already produced, so therefore we're going to take the opportunity to rerun the most popular liveries of Class B tank at the same time. Those won't go on sale just yet, because we've got to finalise a few details on exactly which ones we're going to produce. As a minimum, it'll be the most popular liveries from the first run, which means definitely SO black and definitely unbranded black. We're just trying to work out the details of whether we can offer some of the perhaps less popular liveries, but perhaps only offer 1 number as opposed to multiple numbers for the less popular choices. Finally, using the same chassis, we can produce a model of the MTV sand wagons, which later were recoded for departmental use as ZKV Zander wagons. These were converted in the mid-1970s by Standard Wagon Works from the chassis of Class A and Class B tanks that were redundant and out of use. And it was simply a case of putting a new box body onto the existing chassis. So that's currently in CAD at the moment. It's not quite finished, but as soon as that's finalised and we have a confirmed price, we'll get that on sale. So if you're interested in either the rerun of the Class Bs or the Zander, keep an eye on our website and our announcements for those going on sale in the future. But as I say, the Class A will go on sale.
Okay, well thanks very
So thank you very much.
Okay, well thanks very much indeed, Mike, and apologies that the Wi-Fi I think gave us a little bit of a glitch in the middle there and cut him off in his prime. But nonetheless, I think those Class A's are going to be really popular. And I've got to say, I'm loving the look of that Staveley Chemicals one. That looks really interesting. And I think the little box wagon hopefully will be really popular and really useful as well. And of course, although we showed it in brown, we'll also be offering in Civil Engineers Dutch livery. Right, now moving on, we've got some news now for 00 modelers, who we haven't forgotten about you guys modelling in 4mm scale. And what we've got is, we showed you last time the EP1 samples of the Eco Fret in 00. We've had decorated samples through now, so I'm going to show you those. I'm going to start with the centre car. So here we go, that's the centre car. This is in the GBRF blue Eco Fret livery. You can see the Eco Fret lettering on top there, and also lots and lots of fine lettering on the panels there on the side. Now these models are a 3-car set. We're offering 3-car in GBRF blue and DB red, and 2 unit versions in VTG green that are operated by Freightliner. Now again, I'll show you a feature of this that I showed you last time, which is that, like the real thing, these centre spigots can be rotated out of the way. In position as they are now, you can put on 2 20-foot containers like that and like that, and they sit nicely on the spigots. These are C-rail containers, which are, in my view, the best. But you take those off, and if you want to put on spigots, and there you go. So that's the centre car on the 3-car units. Now the 2-car units can only carry 40-foot containers, which is what these wagons were designed for. And so what you have is a complete 3-car wagon. You have one outer car, a centre car, and then another outer car at the other end. And that's the full 3-car GVRF set. Again, we're doing the same in DB red, and we're also doing just a 2-unit vehicle in VTG green, which is operated by Freightliner. So that's the Eco Frets in 00, and the thing is that they're pretty much approved. There's a couple of tiny changes that we needed to make around some of the small pipes, but nothing important or serious. We're really happy with how those have come straight from the factory. And so again, if you're a 00 modeler and you're interested in those, do keep an eye on our website or our Facebook or whatever, because we will be, I think, ready to close the order book on those fairly soon. And hopefully next time we'll have the N-gauge equivalents to show you, because we were hoping to get them here for this show, but not quite, so we'll hopefully have them for next time. Now, we did announce last time that we were going to be doing our JNA, MMA, Ealnos box wagons in N, and the CAD for those is now completed, so we can show you. But also, since we produced them in 4mm scale last year, TUACs have had a new delivery of these wagons for use on Mendip stone traffic, and they're already in use now. They're a very eye-catching burgundy livery with bright yellow TUACs lettering. Now there's a difference with those ones, which we're going to show you, which is that those ones have a long tank on one side with the brake gear that's associated with the MMAs by DB, and we have been able to combine that on our tooling so we can get the accurate brake gear. What you'll also notice in this image of the N-gauge model is that we are putting loads in these. So there's a moulded load. It looks pretty basic at the moment, because what will happen is that will be cut from computer, but then the actual stone effect will be created by the toolmaker. It's not usually done that by a computer model. It's usually done by craftsmanship. And the whole point of the load is that it's in there to hide the PCB and batteries on the flashing light versions. However, on the other versions, there is also a flat deck beneath it, so the load can be taken out and you can run them empty, or you can run them with the load in. And of course, that load is also designed so that if you want to personalize them a little bit, you can brush on some PVA and then sprinkle a bit of stone on top, or a bit of ballast, or whatever it is you want to depict your wagons running, so they'll look extra realistic. Now, as far as the MMAs and JNAs, now we've got CADs for that version, which is the 2-ax version, also for the DB red ones, the tarmac grey ones, the VTG blue ones, and also the Mendip rail silver ones. So we'll be offering all those variants, and the CAD nearly is ready. Once it's ready, we'll know exactly how much it's going to cost, and that's when we will open the order book. So just keep an eye out for that if you're interested in acquiring those models. And as ever, there'll be an early bird price, which is going to be the cheapest ever. Then there'll be the pre-order price up until we close the order book, and then there'll be perhaps a higher price that you can get them from afterwards from retailers. So if you want to take advantage of the early bird price and get the best bargain, then do keep an eye on our website. Now that a bit of news that I think a lot of people have been waiting for, and this is about Pendolinos. Now, we've been talking to Rapido in Canada for some time about how we can do another run of Pendolinos, because since we did the first run in the classic silver and red Virgin livery, as I'm sure most people will know, they've all been completely repainted, and there are two reasons of this. First of all, they were repainted into a DFT specified pale grey with black stripe along the windows, and the Virgin identity was put on with vinyls. Now Virgin decided to personalise it, and with a bit of a flourish they created the flowing silk motif that they put on the nose of the driving cars of the Pendolinos, but the intermediate cars are all the same pale grey with black stripe. So we're going to go through and show the images of the various livery options that you've got. So I'm going to talk through these, so this will be up for quite a while, this slide. We've got the top is the Virgin flowing silk livery, the vanilla version. 390045, which was formerly 101 Squadron, is the one that was then given the Virgin flowing silk Pride version with the rainbow colours on it and renamed Virgin Pride. That's the second one we'll be offering. We're also looking at offering the debranded DFT Ghost livery, just plain very pale grey with the black stripe along the windows. Now, when Virgin lost the franchise, the vinyls, the flowing silk vinyls, were very quickly removed, and a lot of Pendolinos are now running in this version of the livery. In December last year, the new franchisee on the West Coast, Avanti, unveiled their new livery, which is a massive change, as you can see. So a really, really interesting combination of colours. The shades are known as Solway Grey and Coruscant Red, and these colours, graphite is the one on the nose of the Pendolinos, and again, subject to agreement with Avanti, we are looking to do both the full fat version with all the intermediate cars in Avanti livery, and then most recently they've been turning them out with a sort of an austerity version, if you like, with the power cars vinyled up, but all the intermediate cars are just in the plain pale grey, and it still really works as a livery because of the colours they're using. So if we get enough interest, then that's what we're proposing to offer, and that's the big question. We just don't know if there is a market for these models, because given the minimum order quantities you have to produce, you have to look at producing several hundred models to be able to do all these different liveries. So what we're going to do, not immediately, because we've got the expressions of interest on other models that we're going to talk to you about in a little while, but from the 1st of August, that's this weekend, this Saturday, a page will go live on our website where you can express interest on any or all of those versions, and we're going to give it until the 30th of September. We've decided, after learning lessons from previous models, that it's not a good idea to just have open-ended expression of interest periods, because people lose interest, the impetus goes, the momentum is lost. So we are keeping our expression of interest periods really short, really tight. If you know somebody who perhaps isn't aware of this Facebook Live or doesn't know about our website, who you think might want a Pendolino or another Pendolino maybe to go with one they've already got, please let them know. We're going to be trying to get it in all the magazines and so on to generate enough publicity, but by the 30th of September we should know if we've got enough interest. We're not asking for any money at the moment, enough interest to produce a run of Pendolinos. And again, this model is all about value for money. Because it was crowdfunded, we can produce these for what we consider to be very low prices. I can't remember off the top of my head what the prices are, but they're all on our website, and they will be on our website on Saturday, which is when the Pendolino Expressions of Interest goes live. And the reason that the Pendolino Expressions of Interest goes live on the 1st of August is because there's a previous deadline on the 31st, which I will come on to and tell you about in a minute. So that's the news with the Pendolinos. And the other thing is, of course, that we all know at the moment, because of the current economic climate, that the whole future of franchises on the railway is uncertain. So you can rest assured that we are keeping a very close eye on what's going on, talking to our friends and contacts in the industry. And if anything significant does happen, then we will be across that and we'll address it as best we can. Now, next models to show you are the decorated samples of the Semflows that we are producing with AccuraScale. Now, I think we showed you these last time, but the reason for showing them again is just because they're so lovely. They look really, really fantastic. Really, really good job that AccuraScale have done on these. Just bring them slightly closer in. There we go. And so all that's happening now is that the decorated samples are pretty much approved. There are a few little tweaks that are needed. I think the underframe needs to be silver, or not the whole underframe, but just part of the discharge gear needs to be silver. And also there's a little bit of a tiny printing error on the placard, but that's trivial. And we know that will get sorted out. And we are ready to actually put those into production. So what we're going to do with those, again, we are going to be putting the price up fairly soon. So if you want to get the early bird price, these are still available at our early bird price. If you want to get the early bird price, then order now. The price will be going up fairly soon, and then the order book will be closing quite soon after that, and they will be going into production. We hope some will be available for retailers, but if you don't want to miss out, I suggest you pre-order those models now. Okay, so moving on. A lot of people have ordered IPA car carriers, and of course these are the perfect wagon actually to run with some of the Class 92s we're offering. And got some good news. They have been finished, they've been produced, and we've had production samples sent to us. I'll put that to the side, so I'll show you some. This is the packaging that you're going to get. It's our usual style of packaging. This is what's this? This is STVA grade twin car carrier without the stakes. So open it up, take it out. This is our own unboxing video. Each car is in its own plastic jewel box, and it's held in a clamshell clear plastic blister, and there we go. And that's vehicle number 2, and that one has the coupler pre-fitted, and that one has the coupler pre-fitted, and of course we'll couple up to the other one. And we've shown decorated samples of these before, so I'm not going to spend too much time on these, just to say that they are they are in production, or production has completed, and they will be very soon heading this way. Again, it's just really a question about finalising exactly what the shipping arrangements are going to be because of situations and how they're impacted by COVID. So that goes like that. Okay, so as an unboxing and very quick reboxing video. One thing I have got to show you very quickly is the one that we haven't shown before, which is the new blue Group Cat version. Now this is the 4-car set. I'm going to put it on the track here because I think that might make it slightly easier to see. There we go. And this one is the 4-car covered quad with the roofs and the side screens. And as you can see, this is the new dark blue Group Cat livery. I'll just bring it slightly closer, hopefully we can see it. There we go. No, that's the wrong way. There we go. So again, that's some people have ordered this. We produced, I think, a limited run of about 200 of these. No, 100, 200, I can't remember. Mike will tell you on the questions. And there we go. So there's the Group Cat livery, and that's going to be incoming too. So if you ordered one of those, this is what you're going to get, and that looks really nice. And I'm slightly annoyed with myself. Just uncouple it. There we go. I'll put it away in a second. So again, this is just fixed couplers on the inner end, and this is car number 3, and that has a slightly longer coupler. Sorry, that has a slightly longer coupler because it has buffers at the end there, which is actually prototypical. They're actually 2 twins semi-permanently coupled together. So there we go, that's those. Just bring those out, there we go. So that's the Group Cat car carriers, and all the other car carriers which are going to be heading this way very soon. So if you've ordered those, you can look forward to. Now, really important news, deadlines. Now, last time we said that what we really wanted to do was piggyback onto 2 00 projects. Now, Accurascale and Rails of Sheffield, I don't know if they've confirmed it yet, but it looks very, very likely, I think, that they'll be producing the Class 89 electric, the brush prototype in 00 scale. Now, we've got a good relationship with Accurascale. We're working on them on at least a couple of projects here. And so we are hoping that we can effectively piggyback onto that project and do it in N. Now, we opened up for expressions of interest. We've been fairly encouraged, but we're not there yet. The deadline is this Friday, July the 31st. So if you're interested in a Class 89, if you want one, if you think it would look nice on your layout, then please, we don't want any money, no financial commitment, just an expression of interest. Say yes, you'd be interested, because that will give us clear data and a clear reason to proceed. And I think that the news that's emerged literally in the last couple of weeks, that the 89 has emerged from Tota and it's now in Swallow livery and it's going into use on charter trains, and it will be back on the main line very, very soon, I think is something that could give this project a real boost, because lots of us model the present day, and if there's something running around right now, it's the kind of thing that we'd like to have on our layouts. So 89001, if you want it, please pledge by Friday. And the same goes for the Southern Region General Manager Saloon Caroline. Again, this is a 00 project that we're doing, thanks to an angel investor who's put up the money for it. So that's going ahead, and I can show you the 00 CAD. But what we really want to do is, if we can, shrink this one down to Engage, and do that with the support of our crowdfunding supporters. So again, expressions of interest by this Friday. This vehicle is in BR Blue Grey. It's in the present day Brunswick Green. We'll be offering it, and also we'll be offering it in the rather stylish colours of Network Southeast. And we've got this photo of it in Network Southeast that was very kindly sent to us by Aaron Aird, who's the boss of Sea Rail, who I'm sure many of you will know or know of. So thanks very much for that, Aaron, and thanks very much for any of you who've already pledged for these models. Let's just hope that between us we can get them all over the line. But the deadline is this Friday. If you know anybody at all who might be interested, then do let them know. We don't want any money, we just want a sort of an expression of interest, and that's all on our website. So that's it now. We've gone through the deadlines. There is a deadline for Caroline in 00 that is in 00, which is August the 30th, the 31st, and that is the deadline for the early bird price, because that's already on sale because we know it's going ahead. And with that model, if you order before August 31st, you get the chance to join us on our Sweet Caroline Rail Tour, which we've arranged with the help of our friends at Network Rail, and that'll be going from Derby out on a circular trip up to Manchester and through the Peak District as well, so that should be nice. One little blunder that I have to apologise for is that in the Engage Society Journal, it does say that orders have opened on the Class 1 to 8. They haven't. When I sent that in, which was about 6 weeks ago because of the lead-in times for magazine deadlines, we thought it would be, but it hasn't. We've had a few niggles on the CAD, nothing important, but we haven't been able to sign off the CAD just yet. And until we can sign off the CAD and know exactly how many tools the model will require and how much it's going to cost, we can't really set a price. That's why it hasn't gone on sale yet. It will do soon. There's no problem with the model or anything. It's just a question of getting it right. And we'd rather get it right than get it quick. So any questions at all? Now, I don't know if I expect Mike has been answering questions. I'm just gonna have a look and see if I can see any to answer here. Yes, you'll be able to watch the video after we finish. Yes, you will. Let me see what I can do. Oh, thank you, Ed, for your quoting of Neil Diamond. Everybody's a Neil Diamond fan all of a sudden. I do like a bit of Neil Diamond. Yeah, the Engage Kane Harkins. Engage Caroline needs to be a must. Totally agree. I mean, in practical terms, you know, Caroline and Engage, especially if you're modelling the present day, it can go and does go anywhere. The whole point of choosing to adapt it from a Hastings unit is that they were built with the sort of the smallest kind of kinematic envelope pretty much on the rail network, which means they can pretty much traverse any line on the network at all. And on top of which, it's not just if you're modelling the present day, because we've seen photographs of Caroline in Network Southeast livery up at Peak Forest. So it did get around in those days as well, albeit perhaps not as much as now. And the other thing is, Caroline is going to be used for many years to come. It's so useful, and there isn't really another vehicle that could be built now that has all the features. Cabs at both ends, can be driven, can drive a locomotive from both ends, has a galley, it has 2 saloons, it has grandfather rights, which is why it's allowed on the real railway. But designing a similar vehicle now will be very, very difficult because of current restrictions that don't allow, for example, more than one person in the cab with the driver, unless they're fully HSE compliant. So yeah, Caroline is very useful to the railway. In fact, it's so useful that at the moment there is a program to install a toilet retention tank underneath it, and they wouldn't be spending that sort of money on it if it wasn't for the fact they're expecting to use it for many years to come. Nicholas Sunshine, I'll certainly take a Pendolino or two and DCC sound. Oh, good man. Thank you for that, Nicholas. That's a good start. The car carriers look really nice. Yes, I agree with that. I think they do. Blue IPA's past the depot at 6:30. Gareth, okay, fair enough. Did you take any photos? I bet you didn't. You're too busy working. Okay, yeah, I mean, absolutely, we're not asking for money. 390,156. Well, yes, that is Cheadle Ridge. Yes, that is that's the Avanti Pendolino. It's got the name Pride and Prosperity at one end, I think. That is the one we're thinking of offering, again, subject to adequate expressions of interest and so on. So, yeah, let's hope we can get that one over the line, because I think they look great in that livery. And I think an Engage model of the full, 9 or 11 car Pendolino look fantastic. Well, it's 11 car in the Avanti livery, but some of the austerity Avanti liveries, some of the 9 car ones are in that now. That's okay. It is, yes. That's correct. Hang on, who said that? Samarty Smith. It is. Caroline has been set aside for the National Collection. The National Collection. That is true. Okay, so just pushing on through. Okay. All right, Gareth, I'm sorry if you were very grumpy this morning. I can understand. Andrew Turnage, any news on the 56XX? Well, I mean, other than it is in production, and when we hear from the factory that the production is completed and it's on its way, then they will go to Rails of Sheffield. I mean, we will be involved, obviously, with the ones that were ordered from us, but the majority of the models are going to go to Rails of Sheffield, which is where they can be ordered from now. Any news on the Mark V, asks Jonathan Webster. Yes, Jonathan, they are. So at the moment, Accurascale have got the tooling started on the 00 Mark Vs. That's my understanding, and they're just sort of getting that sorted out, and as soon as that's done, then we're looking at getting the tooling started on the N-gauge ones. I guess perhaps learning any lessons from any issues they might encounter tooling the 4mm models. But yeah, we are looking forward to seeing real progress on those in the not too distant future. And of course, you know, the Trans-Pennine ones are going to look great with the fabulous Staples 68, and they're also going to look great with our own Caledonian Sleeper 92s, the Caledonian Sleeper versions. Well, I've been prattling on now getting on for 50 minutes. If you're still with me, I salute you, because I'm not sure I would be. And again, we got 1,700 viewers to our last Facebook Live. So if only 3/4 of those people expressed interest in 89001 or Caroline, then we'd get those models over the line very, very easily indeed. So do think about backing those projects. Look out for the new Pendolinos, look out for the 00 Eco Frets, look out for anything you might be interested in. And we will see you next time with news of the IWA timber carriers and vans and a few other models as well. So thank you very much indeed. And it's good night from me. And I guess it's good night from Mike.